It took another 2 years. I was obviously in quite a stubborn state with a lot to make tawbah for, but Allah Ta'ala allowed me to accept Islam 2 years later. I want to share one more thing before I get to some of the pointers I'd like to share, and that was the meaning of Alhamdulillah, of gratitude. I went back many more times, alhamdulillah. 2012, I went to Beit Hanoun after another smashing by the Israeli army. Like thousands of tons of bombs dropped on the most densely place on the planet. And I met a family there in what had been an old prison. And when I went to pray, I was Muslim at the time, alhamdulillah. When I went to pray, I just started to cry. In sujood, one of the kids was holding a phone, not a camera phone, just an old Nokia for light, because they had no light, they had no generator. I was just crying, and one of the mothers came over and said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I'm crying for you." She said, "Crying for us?" "Why are you crying for us?" I said, "Well, you know, your son's got white phosphorus on him. Your other son's just had been shot in the leg. You got two kids who are so traumatized they don't speak. Do you want me to go on?" She said, "No, we're so happy. We're so happy. Alhamdulillah. Allah has promised us that if we stay steadfast, it's Jannah. And all we have to do is be patient. Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah." And on that visit, I also was taken by a friend to meet a remarkable young man called Mohammed Ajour. And it was in a nice apartment. There are nice apartments, a few in Gaza City, alhamdulillah. And when I walked in, it was he was so full of nur, this young man. He was about 22, that I actually had to look down. Even auntie as I am, it was like, and it wasn't attractiveness in a Hollywood way, in a trashy kind of ephemeral way. It was just light, you know. You wanted to stare at the young man. So, you know, I looked down, and he told me a story. And in 2009, he'd been in his uncle's house. He was an athlete wanting to train for the Olympics. He'd been in his uncle's house. He was about 18, 19 at the time. Missile from Israel hit the apartment building, as they do, and it came down on him. So his friends were digging in the rubble, yelling his name, Mohammed, Mohammed, and they got his head and shoulders uncovered to the waist. And as they pulled him out, his legs came off at the thigh. Both his legs just severed at the thigh, and he started to bleed out, saying, "La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah." And he woke 10 days later in a Cairo hospital. And he told me that he remembered, you know, coming to and seeing his mom at the end of the bed, realizing, okay, I'm in hospital, something's happened, mom, and expecting his mom to smile at him, and instead she was crying. You know, Habibi, her only son, the Olympic athlete, you know, Habibi, they took your legs. And the first word he said, Alhamdulillah. Thanks, all thanks and praise to God. Why? Why would he say this? He said, all praise and thanks to God, who has left my eyes that I can still see you, Mum. When so many children in Gaza, they don't have their eyes. And then he said, I realized I have both my hands. Alhamdulillah, look, Mum, I have my hands. I can still hold you. I can still hug you. And how merciful is Allah when other children don't have their hands and their arms. Allahu Akbar. This young man, who I got to know by the grace of Allah, who I consider a friend, he got married 2 years ago. He's got children now, and he makes clay pots with inspiring notes on them, inspiring words. Allahu Akbar. These people are extraordinary, and I don't know. Every time we get sad, just remember Jannah's filled with extraordinary people. That's it, and they get tested like that. Alhamdulillah. So